Hey Landman Garden, July 4th. If you're like me, live out in the Phoenix, Arizona area, then this is the time of the year where you'll be harvesting your Anna apples. They're a low chill apple, very, very easy to grow in our climate. As you can see here, I've got just a small amount of my harvest this year out on the table. This tree, even taking up a small footprint like a 6x6 area in your yard, can be very productive, give you enough apples for the whole year. Clearly you can't eat all these all at once, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how I am preserving these apples. So I'll be able to enjoy them for at least another 12 months. So what I'm actually going to be doing is using this peeling coring machine to basically get my apple wedges in a pretty efficient manner, and then we're going to stick those wedges into this bucket of water. I've got a 5-gallon food grade bucket down there. It's got ice water and lemon juice, and that lemon water just helps to prevent browning on your apple wedges while you're processing them. So I'll link this product. I just got this on Amazon recently for this. Wasn't even aware these existed, and it makes the job very, very easy. The price on these is like 20 bucks. There's a suction cup on the bottom that helps keep this in place. As you can see, I just put the apple onto a prong, and there's a peeler and a core built in, so you just rotate the handle You can see it's doing a really nice job peeling this apple for you. And then you simply pull it off the core. So pretty quick, and then you just remove the core. So I'm going to do that about 60 more times, and we'll come back on the next step. So with apples, because they are very high acid foods, you don't need to pressure can it. You can actually just use a water bath technique, which is what we're going to do here. So to prep, you can see a very large stock pot right in front there. I've got boiling water in there, and what I want to do is sterilize my jars. Even though these have run through the dishwasher, you always want to ensure that they're sterile before you pack them with food. So I just dip each jar into that boiling water to sterilize it. And I'll also do that with the seals and the rings. So you'll definitely need a pair of jar lifters for this. This is boiling hot water. Just lay that down on a towel. Alright, so for the seals and rings, I just use a pair of tongs and double stack them. Dip them into that boiling water. And just a side note, I'm using a mix of different size jars. Really doesn't matter, it's just personal preference. Just know that once you open that jar, it only lasts about 7 days in the refrigerator. So I like having a variety, so if I'm not going to use a whole lot, I can just go with the smaller jar. Okay, now that our jars are all sterilized and ready to go, we can talk about the syrup. So this pot here is just boiling with 16 cups of water. So with the syrup that I'm going to make it kind of medium. You could make it lighter and put in less sugar. What I'm going to do is 1 part sugar to 2 parts water. So I've got 16 cups, so we need 8 cups of sugar. If you don't want to use sugar, you can use honey instead. Once that syrup develops, I'm going to dump in our apples and just let them simmer a little bit in that syrup. And it's not so much to cook them, but to eliminate the air bubbles, just so that they don't float to the top of our jars. Just makes processing a little bit more straightforward and successful. You don't want to overcook these apples because, as you saw with the way that I processed them, the wedges are very, very thin. So you don't want this to turn into like applesauce. We definitely want this to be more of pie filling type wedges. So just a very quick cook before I start packing them into jars and process them in the water bath. Before I throw those apples in, I am going to put in some ground cinnamon to this, just to add a little bit of spice. Not adding too much, just a couple teaspoons. So we'll let that cook for a couple minutes, and then I'll show you the packing process and how to water bath these. Just use a ladle to pack these. It does help if you have a funnel. You want to leave ½ inch of headspace. So I'm packing them just under, there's a little area where you can see the lid turns on. I'm leaving the apples up to that point. So we're gonna pour some syrup on top here. So that's about what we want. Give her a lid. The key to this is you want to turn it just when it snugs up. Don't over tighten it. If you over tighten, you can buckle it. And so this is ready to go into the water bath once we get the others done. Okay, first set of jars are packed. We're going to want to process this into boiling hot water for 20 minutes. You don't want to place your jars directly on the bottom of the stock pot. You'll need this implement that has holes in it to prevent the jars from breaking. So we'll just slide that into the bottom here. With your jar lifter, you're going to just set each of these jars. Into the water. You want at least 2 inches of water above the top of the lids. And then once I set all of these, I'll take note of the time so that I know 20 minutes later these need to be pulled out. Depending on your jar size, you can double stack these and put that same kind of plate in between the top of your first layer and the bottom of your second. All right, these are done processing. Just gonna pull these out now. Just tilt them so that the water runs off the top and place them on a towel. And you want to basically not disturb these for 24 hours so that they can seal properly. That's the process pretty much. These will keep in your pantry for a year to year and a half. Once you open the jar, like I mentioned, they keep for about a week in the fridge. So canning is definitely not the only way to process apples. You know, if you happen to have a freeze dryer, that's a great way, and they have really long shelf life that way. I have not invested in one of those. I have just frozen up apple wedges and stuck them in the freezer, you know, for a while, but I really don't find that they taste very good when you thaw them out. So this method to me is a really nice one. The apples, you know, are marinated in that sugar and cinnamon. You know, great toppings for anything. Add them to cottage cheese, cream cheese. Go well with a variety of dishes. Plus you can use this just for pie filling. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I preserve apples. Thanks for watching.